if there is not an access provider available, that they would have to use a non-provider. And I know how difficult that is to get a non-provider to be working under the access program. I don't know, Representative Farnsworth, do you want to speak to that?
Mr. Chairman and Representative Cobb, only because you said I don't want to.
I knew you would.
That's an issue that we're going to see how that works, and that's one of the things. One of the things that I wanted to do was actually, there are some concerns about wait lists that we have. We had a meeting with Access. We also had a meeting with the REBA, and we talked about the opportunity to go outside the service providers that they currently have under contract. Now, there are a couple of concerns. One of them is that the federal government tends to have some control over what happens with the access funding. So we couldn't simply go outside, because I suggested that under their contract, which is true, under their contract, they are obligated to provide these services and not have a waiting list. So my position was, if they have to go out, if they've exhausted all of the providers within the system and they have to go outside the system, then we simply charge back to the REBA. And that actually started to get a little bit of footing until we found out that the feds won't allow that right now. So maybe in the future we'll work through that. So this is a compromise where, quite candidly, I don't know how well it will work. I do think we probably need to notify those that are outside the system that they are going to be limited, and that's the one thing that I think is missing in the amendment, is that we have to notify any providers that are outside the system that they will only be able to charge and be reimbursed at the in-system rate.
And that is why that language is in there, so it provides us a way to make sure that we're drawing down the proper federal funds. But I do believe that will need to be vetted as we move along through the REBAs and through the department, and make sure that they can make that work. But it is our intention to make sure that these services come whether they think they have a waiting list or not.
Now, Mr. Chairman, Representative Cobb, as you know, when we pass a law, the imputed knowledge of that law is given to everybody in the state, or anybody who has contact with the state. So, in effect, by publishing this statute, we are putting anyone who would provide these services on notice that they are not going to receive anything above the rate within the access system. However, I think it's fair for us to, whether we do it by statute or otherwise, I think there ought to be a policy that says, before this happens, they ought to at least be notified that they're not going to be able to charge their non-access rate, but in fact, they will be the access reimbursement rate. So,
thank you.
How was that?
That was pretty good.
Thank you.